Kai Cenat, the name that means so much to the internet world and a name that almost everyone recognizes. But what you're seeing right now, streams with NBA superstars and Hollywood celebrities, hides a very painful and thorny path that only Kai and his family know about. Today we're going to go through Kai Cenat's takeover of Twitch, how he converted from posting on platforms like Facebook and YouTube to Twitch, and how he took the streaming world by storm. Kai Cenat was born in the Bronx, and ever since early life, he had to struggle with the absence of his father. Raised by a single mother and 3 other siblings, Cenat's family had to live paycheck to paycheck, and most of the time even that wasn't enough, despite his mother having 4 jobs. More often than not, Cenat and his family were homeless because the paychecks didn't cover the month's expenses, so the pressure that Kai felt from a very young age was tremendous. With a massive burden on his shoulders, a question kept creeping into Kai's mind. How do I beat the crowd and stand out from everyone else? And if we look at Kai's early beginnings, we can say one thing. He is one hell of a disciplined and motivated individual. Kai was investing his knowledge in learning the basics of YouTube, or more precisely, what do you need to make a video go viral? He knew that the online world had something hidden for him, a fortune that he needs to be very passionate about, but one that would require a massive sacrifice to be made. That's precisely why Kai took on Facebook and Instagram first. By posting short videos of himself, he started learning about the creators' industry. What do people like? What can he do in order to create a fan base? And more importantly, keep his consistency and discipline at the highest level possible. But as you would normally expect, Facebook and Instagram's initial success was low. That's still not a demotivating factor for a human being like Kai. This was a learning stage for him. Views were low, traction was nowhere to be found, but he learned a lot about content creation. These steps have effectively started to forge him into what he's become today, the biggest streamer in the world. This rise of Kai Cenat in the internet world was just the beginning. But as you would already imagine, it's very hard to keep up with both college and content creation. There are very few or no streamers at all that manage to do well on both fronts, and Kai is no exception. At a certain period, or more precisely in 2020, Kai had to make a choice for himself. Either take the safe path and continue in college, or focus fully on the art of content creation. At this point, Kai was already gaining a lot of traction, and he saw the potential of YouTube was looming in front of him. He just needed to continue what he does best, and that's why he decided to drop out of State University of New York at Morrisville. Learning a lot about content creation on platforms like Instagram and Facebook, and starting his journey on YouTube, it was time for the next step, to become a viral persona. This was the sole goal since Kai started posting online videos, but it required far more than sheer will. From his very first video in 2018, Kai focused on pranks and challenges, which were kind of interesting, but were far away from what he could actually achieve as an internet celebrity. A big turnaround moment came when he joined AMP, or Any Means Possible, a group that shared the same energy and passion as him. The original members of AMP were Phantom, Duke Dennis, Agent 00, Chris Nextdoor, and Davis. And when Kai got invited to AMP, he was definitely not the biggest creator there. But he was the grittiest one. He was the guy who was willing to prove to everyone that anything is possible. All you have to do is create an idea and put your mind to it. The AMP challenges started to become more and more demanding and more attention-grabbing, and it was all thanks to Kai's influence. Yes, the rest of the squad was also hungry for success and viewership, but the momentum shifted massively once Cenat stepped in. He completely took control, and thanks to different types of stunts and extremisms, AMP became very popular on YouTube. At this point, you would think that Kai reached the top, and there is nothing left to prove because he's mastered YouTube's content creation, right? But you would be utterly wrong. There is something called streaming that Kai wanted to put his hands on, and this is where the breakthrough moment starts. Kai Cenat knew that streaming held a lot of potential, and he also knew that he could be the next big thing on Twitch. He just needed a different approach than the rest of the streamers. Unlike live video game streaming, which we'll talk about later in this video, Kai started to do unusual stuff for Twitch's fanbase. He started to turn live content into full-blown internet events, and the very first ever stream was in February back in 2021. Unlike YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram, where he struggled massively when he first went live, things were vastly different here. From his very first stream, Kai gathered thousands of views, and it was kind of an expected thing from this moment that he'd blow up with his content. But the internet wasn't ready for what he had prepared for them. The entire AMP house crew moved to Twitch as well, and they started streaming their everyday lives. Before they started doing this, there weren't many streamers who actually did similar content. Ludwig was one of the few that Kai drew a lot of inspiration from some of his content. For example, Ludwig extended his stream for every subscriber he'd get, and Kai saw an opportunity that few would recognize in this situation. With Ludwig not stopping his stream for 31 days, Kai watched carefully and started learning what he could do in order to not just replicate this, but elevate it to the next level. Ludwig's subathon was focused more on gaming, while Kai focused on other more extravagant stuff like ice-dipping baths, turning the AMP house into a petting zoo, starting a Riz school, and whatever else. By doing this, Kai started to gain a fan base that only grew by the day, and no matter when you joined his subathon, you'd see him do extravagant stuff. This was just the beginning. A gaming live stream was next on the menu. Everything he's learned so far, every little grind he's made towards success, was now ready to be upgraded. Until Kai jumped on streaming was known as an activity for gamers. This meant that the majority of the streamers played video games for hours and hours, and this is where Kai saw his chance. He wanted to flip the script upside down. Even though he started in the same way as other streamers by broadcasting video games, he did it vastly different compared to the rest of the gamers. For the first time ever, we saw a streamer willing to play a video game live on camera until he completes it, which was Kai Cenat with Elden Ring. Not only that, but he did tons of cosplay in the meantime as well, proving that streaming is not just a hobby to him, it's a lifestyle. And this moment proved that Kai Cenat's legacy in streaming is going to be left for a very long time. He's beaten Elden Ring after 166 hours of live streaming. But there's something about Kai that we need to say as well. He turned down tons of money from Kick when many would have picked it up in the blink of an eye. Kick, another rising streaming platform, offered Kai Cenat $60 million to transfer to their platform, but he denied it, proving that loyalty comes before everything. He doesn't care about money, he cares about the platforms that defined him and what made him what he is today. This is precisely why Kai Cenat's growth was even further guaranteed, with his fan base recognizing the loyalty and Twitch making sure to pay their dividends to the greatest creator that has ever stepped on that platform. However, not everything between Twitch and Kai Cenat was smooth. Let's remind you of the controversial ban that came on the 27th of January back in 2023. Just 5 days before the first Mafiathon appeared, Twitch banned Kai for violating the terms of service primarily for his sexual activity in GTA. But just 3 days after the ban, Twitch decided to lift it, recognizing that Mafiathon could be the biggest thing that has ever happened to their platform. And they weren't wrong. Mafiathon 1 didn't disappoint, and from that point on, Kai's creativity has only risen, and the celebrities he pulled became more and more exclusive. After the first Mafiathon took place in 2023, in which Kai cemented his position as a legend in Twitch, he moved on with Mafiathon 2. During this event, Kai broke the record for the most subscribers on Twitch, ending it with around 730,000. But more importantly, he had guests like Lil Uzi Vert, Kodak Black, and Snoop Dogg helping him achieve his goal. The influence of Kai was so big that you can just turn up his stream and you'd find a celebrity that's being hosted by Cenat, which was emphasized even further on Mafiathon 3. The last edition of Mafiathon was one for the books. Kai broke the record for 1 million live viewers on Twitch, and what a way to do so, by having LeBron James in his house jobbing his locks. I don't know if there is something left that Kai Cenat needs to prove to the streaming world. He's done literally everything that many would only dream of. But as I said in the beginning of the video, this isn't something that comes on its own. This isn't a one-time show or a fluke. It's the result of hard work, discipline, and not giving up when it matters the most. That's what Kai Cenat means to the Twitch world, and that's how he's being able to become the greatest streamer in the world.
The cover of Billboard.
Everybody know I'm better. Yeah, I'm better.
What the fuck?
Pockets fatter. Nowadays I'm on my haters, they got sadder. That's money longer. Different song, bruh. Different producer. I can do anything.
Chat. This is the first. Hold on. Oh my gosh. Wait. Was I supposed to show this?